It's really good when you are with good relations with your teammates because it's like going to work together and you have basically a friend with you.
We are back and joined by Candy Panda from SK in that hard-fought win, that comeback win over the Copenhagen Wolves, and the first win for SK Gaming, the new SK Gaming in this LCS. That game was so incredibly back and forth. Just tell me from your side of the story of the game, where you knew you had the upper hand.
So first of all, I have to say that like after the first 2 games, we were kind of down, but I think we knew we had the potential to win the game. Like in scrims, it was always like kind of 50-50 if we win or lose. But after the first games, we weren't so sure. But like we still knew we could win. So for this game, we like took a different approach to win it and play more aggressive. That was our plan. So that's how we won.
Talk to me about the different approach. Who makes the decision for that? Whose call was it to say, look, let's go a little bit more aggressive, let's pick some more fights? Because let's be honest, it didn't work early on. You guys were behind, you struggled a little bit, and it felt like the Ziggs bombs coming down from Copenhagen Wolves and Kautard made your life very difficult.
So yeah, first of all, like Ziggs is always hard to create something. But after the Fnatic game, like we sat down and we talked about what happened. And it was basically like, we didn't create any like opportunity for us to do something. So we said to ourselves, like, just try to create something.
Whose job was
And they're like, oh, get away. So you can just do whatever you want as an AD carry, and it's not hard to play that kind of team fight.
Not hard to play that kind of team fight, easy. No, yeah.
Next question is just very quickly. You guys got the Baron off that one. It then got drawn out still for another sort of 10 or 12 minutes back and forth. What was it that extended the game as well? What was it that kept the game still so close and you were trading kills and blows and gold the whole time?
Yeah, so after we got the Nasher, we took all 3 outer turrets. We tried to get control of their jungle for the next Nasher, but then we lost. We didn't lose the fight in mid, but we got 3 for 2. But then we just kind of went away from Nasher. They just took it, so that kind of...
That was where you fail flashed and hit the wall and then had to arcane shift into the
yeah.
river. Not that
Over the
I've
dragon
seen
wall.
that or anything.
Right.
Yeah, but to be fair, you did have people diving on you. It was an immediate tibbers.
It's a little mean. Now, actually, what I also wanted to ask you is this is one win, but that doesn't mean that the problems that were there beforehand were eliminated. And we noticed that you're kind of looking for new things. You said creating new things, as here, very sieging, a poke comp. What do you think is the main thing that you have to work on, maybe a specific lane or?
We have to improve on a lot of things. Like, there's nothing you could specifically point out. Like, we're still a young team. There's like the spring split. It still means something, but it's like more for preparation for the summer split. That's where it really counts. So we're just trying to like get the most out of it this season, like get the best place we can, and yeah, just improve as much as you can. Like as I said, there's nothing specifically you can point out.
I've got a question about that training regime. How do you improve as a team? How do you, in Candy Panda's mind, step back, look at SK as a whole, and say, these are the things we need to do? And don't say scrims. I'm not letting you answer that way, you know? What specific things do you need to work on, and how?
So like, if you want to prepare for a match, or like prepare for SES, tournament, whatever, first of all, you have to play solo queue for the individual skill. So you're good on lane, so you can actually like do something with your advantage. Then you have to scrim. I know you said I don't want to say it, but you have to scrim. That's the reality. Then you also have to prepare, like look up what the enemy plays. Like you can look at the enemy jungler, see what paths he take, and see like you can think why does he do that, and then you can like see. So like you know his timings when he comes bottom, when he comes top, whatever. Well,
I tell you what, I'll make this easier for that. I hope you guys win some more, because I would like to ask you again, when you scrim, how do you focus on specific things? So start practicing a response for me, all right?
okay, I will do it.
All right, well, thank you very much, Candy Panda. Congratulations. First victory for SK Gaming in the European LCS here. And now let's send it over to D-Man and Officio for our next game.
Thank you very much, Shocks. And before we kick off our final LCS game of the day, I want to remind you that the European Challenger Series continues live right after this match. Don't go anywhere, it's going to still be on here. So, Roccat versus Millennium, that is the next game and the final game of the night. Roccat had an incredible first game against the Super Hot crew, and they did it in style. Malphite and Pantheon pulled out the double combos, or the wombo combo, as Overpower called it.
I mean, I'm starting to really like Rocket. They play a very different style compared to the rest of the teams in Europe, and they're not afraid to pull out new stuff, being in the way they play, the way they build the champions, or what champions they actually pick. I've been very impressed about them so far, especially also the champion select. The way they do that, they manage to put up some combos that work really well against whatever the enemy team has, and that gives them such a huge advantage when they actually get in game.
And we also noticed during that game just how well they're playing as a team. And, you know, these are guys that have been together for many years, and it seems to show.
It really shows. I mean, the synergy between them, the calls between them as well. Everyone follows on the same call. You can see it every time. For instance, the wombo combo they did with the Malphite and Pantheon jumping in, it was instantly as the Pantheon circle showed, Malphite just flash ulted in, hit two people, and boom, the fight was on. That is high-level coordination, and it is beautiful to watch.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And of course, Millennium, they did dominate SK Gaming earlier, despite taking 51 minutes to actually finish the game.
It was a very long game, but in their defense, they were against a Lucian and a 6 to defend. But they also admitted afterwards they didn't play up to their own standards according to themselves. They were a bit tired, it was very late, and they didn't like the combo too much they had, because they didn't really have any siege potential or pushing potential.
And you can see it was a big game, a 51-minute matchup that finally finished off there. And it's actually those two in the nearest shot there, Creaton and Jerry, that we want to talk about, because these guys, you know, they formed a great partnership throughout the summer. You were obviously up against them yourself, and they seem to be carrying on into this season. Obviously, Creaton had his hand injury before. Got to make sure we wrap him in cotton wool in this summer split, I feel.
Did you say Creaton had his hand injury?
His hand injury, yeah.
Oh, hand injury. I thought it said hand injury.
Yeah, you may have noticed that big cast he had on for a few weeks. Yeah. I don't know whether I don't know how much attention the other players pay. I mean, map awareness and all that.
No, I just misunderstood you. I thought you said he had his hand up injury. That was what I got wrong. Anyway, here we go.
Definitely don't want to go there.
Here we go. Them as a bot lane in the start of the last split was absolutely amazing. Creaton played so well and Jerry played so well. He pulled out also some new stuff, like for instance the Fiddlestick support. He was one of the first in Europe to do it. Now, they did very well versus SK Gaming, but against Gambit, it didn't look that good. They just looked okay, but for me, seeing how they do versus this Rocket bot lane, which has also shown very good signs, Silver for me has been very impressive, is actually going to give us a good indication of where we have Jerry and Creaton.
And while Millennium didn't do so great against Gambit early on, we want to talk about, and obviously, what was creating the opportunities against SK? What gave them that big advantage early on?
Now, very smart warding from Millennium all around in the early game was absolutely amazing to watch. Aranea had a lot of focus on getting some wards behind the dragon pit, so every time Millennium went for a dragon, Kirk could stand behind the wall, jump over the wall, instant burst down a target, and then jump back, forcing SK Gaming to back off from the dragon and not go in and contest it. So, in general, if they can keep doing this, if they can get Curb on something he can roam on and make big plays early game, I see Millennium have a very good, early to mid game transition, and if they can actually snowball games for them, like we saw versus SK.
We'll see if it works out for them. Let's check out those lineups, because on the blue side, it is going to be ROCAT, and they were a team that were up against it early on. We'll see if they can counter the pressure of Millennium. The top laner is Zazas, Jankos in that jungle, Overpower the mid laner, Selavar as the AD carry, and Vanda in support.
And on the red side, it's Millennium with Kevin in the top lane, Aranea as the jungler, Kirby as the mid laner, Kraton as the AD carry, and Jerry as the support.
So Picks and Ban's going to be starting shortly. We're just waiting for the players to get themselves into the match, into the game, and get things underway. What are we expecting to see taken away? Because we've already seen some pretty wild stuff coming out of the ROCAT camp. Are we expecting to see standard from Millennium? Because the last 2 games they've played have been fairly standard setups.
I expect somewhat standard from Millennium, but also know they play a champ select that relies a lot on what the enemy pick. They have a lot of counter picks, or think they have a lot of counter picks to certain champions. So for me, watching how they do, I expect them to do some pretty standard picks in the start, and then maybe saving a pick for Curb or something for the late, or for the last part of the champ select to try and counter pick Overpower. I also think, though, that the Kale pick is going to be very essential. If Overpower can actually get his hands on it, it can be very strong. I've seen that, and we have seen how Kill is right now in his meta, because you can stall games out when Kill gets to the point where she gets so strong that you can just instant destroy everyone. So for me, the Kill pick is going to be very important. And if ROCAT can get it, they're going to look very strong.
And ROCAT, obviously, you know, they're our team. We actually saw them talking about, and I hate to bring up the whole NIP thing, but you are here, so you know this is their first week in the LCS. It could have been NIP in there, but we talked about how they felt that they were one of the stronger teams coming into it. Do you feel, of the 3 new teams that are in the LCS, are they one of the stronger teams?
I feel ROCAT and Copenhagen Wolves are pretty much dead even, and then maybe having Super Hot Crew chasing a little bit behind. But overall, I wouldn't actually say that they have proven yet, any of the new teams, that they are, you know, among the top in Europe, but I definitely think they have the potential to get there.
Yeah, because they were always a fringe team, there or thereabouts, and you talked about it a moment ago, the Kale is not going to be available for Overpower, Leona and Annie being taken away as well, so actually big support focus on J-Ree here, Elise also being banned away from Jankos.
Now ROCAT knows that Millennium loves to have J-Ree engaging. They're just taking away the 2 best champions in the game to engage with. This might potentially force Millennium to early pick a Fresh, and ROCAT probably has a counter for that. Maybe the Lulu. Lulu is fairly decent versus Fresh in lane, and also for the team fights. But Elise also being banned away by Millennium shows respect towards Jankos.
And it's interesting to look at the 2 teams there. You can see massive amounts of conversations coming out from the ROCAT team. Big discussions. They're taking away Vi. It took them a while to decide on that ban, and now Millennium actually having a little talk about this one. Jerry didn't look too impressed when Leona and Annie were banned out.
No, but the Vi ban actually makes sense now that Elise is gone, because they want to make sure, if they actually do it first, but it's very smart.
Yeah, and actually the Vi ban obviously against Aranea. It's a champion he's been playing a hell of a lot of, but Thresh insta-locked in there. They knew they wanted to support, that's why they were banning him.
That is so smart, because we have like the top 3 supports in general, Leona, Annie and Fresh. This now forces Jerry to pick up something different. I'm not sure actually what he plays right now, if he plays an army, if he still plays Fiddlesticks, or if he picked up Lulu. It's going to be very interesting to see actually.
Kevin scratching his chin. He's just turned 21 yesterday, picked himself up his first victory, and that. It is technically still his birthday? Yeah, just about, for 9 more minutes. It's still his birthday, so we'll see whether anything can help. Will it be Shyvana in the top lane for him? Oh, well, that would be an Aranea maybe.
We've seen this combo coming in before, where they pick up 2 tanks instantly. It's going to be Shyvana in the jungle for Aranea and Dr. Mundo in the top lane. Now, Renekton is the go-to pick, but we saw ROCAT play Malphite yesterday, which works kind of well. He won't really be able to duel Dr. Mundo, but he can force a lot of team fights instead.
We'll see if he pulls out something different. Of course, he pulled out Malphite yesterday in that top lane. We've already seen a Malphite today from Wicked. Not quite going the way I feel he planned it, and interesting build, I think it's safe to say.
I think we have to question that build, not Malphite, but the build itself. I have never seen anything like that, and I don't actually think I saw him auto-tag a lot in the fights. So, not the best build, but...
Well, it's a build that may work in certain situations, but against the Dr. Mundo, we weren't too sure. Caitlyn, though, has been locked in for Selavar down the bottom lane, so we already know what the duo pairing down the bottom will be for ROCAT. The final choice, of course, Evelyn has been banned away a number of times throughout the last few games. We'll see whether it's going to make its first appearance.
Now, Evelyn is a jungler who needs early kills to snowball, but she will put so much pressure on the map just by being Evelyn. You don't actually have to gank anywhere. The enemy will constantly feel you're close by. And when you put down a pink ward to try and spot her, the lane you're against can just go kill it because you can see the pink wards. So Evelyn will constantly have pressure on the map, and with the Caitlyn pick now, they have a very strong lane, and at the same time they have a lot of pushing potential.
Well, Jinx has been very popular today, doing a grand job. We could see Aqua Prisons coming out from J-Re. Is it going to be Nami being selected in there? Champion that you played quite a lot of last split.
Yeah, and personally I still think Nami is very strong. I mean, she has her weakness in the early stages of the laning phase, unless you manage to land an early bubble. But once you hit the level 6 part, she's very strong. The Lulu pick instead, though, is not really that strong versus a Caitlyn. There's not too much burst damage, but it's a very safe pick.
It's a good pop-up pick as well. If you're going to have the Shyvana Dragon's Descent jumping in there, follow it by the Wild Growth, can bounce up the entire team if it catches in the right place, which we have seen in the Korean team, the likes of Impact in the top lane.
Yeah, and it also helps Jinx survive a lot. She doesn't have any escapes herself, but giving her the Wild Growth and the shield, coupled with maybe a Whimsy for some more move speed together with her passive as well, actually synergizes really well. So far, I like the combo from Millennium.
Well, we'll see what they're going to counter it with. Of course, we know the two duo lanes. What is going to be the mid laner? What are ROC going to pull out here? Will we see something different from Overpower once again? He pulled out Pantheon the other day. Galio is actually a potential. It used to be the mid laner of choice for Alex Ich.
I don't really see the Galio pick making much sense. There's no AP damage right now on Millennium side. Normally it's more of a counter pick with like heavy AP setups, but he changes.
That's more like it. Yeah, that's more like it. We could see, of course, the classic. The crowd actually sighs. It's like, oh, Mundo versus Renekton again. Well, it may well be happening in that top lane. Riven has been one of those champions of choice since Faker decided to really shock the world and say, this is actually what you should be doing with this champion.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Renekton, we don't really need to touch much on it because we've seen it time and time again. But Riven now is a very hard champion to actually counter pick because she's very safe in lane. She can pretty much always get her farm and she can duel pretty much everyone early game.
Well, we'll see what the final choice is. What will Kurt play? He's spinning that tracker ball and flinging himself around the mid. You can see it just in the distance there. His thumb already ready and waiting to go on it. Could it be Ziggs? The crowd were like, Twisted Fate! Ah, no, Ziggs again. Ziggs has actually made it through to the final pick, which does actually surprise me.
And I like this pick up actually because Ziggs has a chance to poke Riven a lot. Do a lot of early game damage, and a bit like versus the Nidalee matchup, he can push her into the tower very early and force her to CS under the tower, which is very hard. But on the other hand, if Riven decides to all in on Ziggs around level 6, he might be able to pick up a kill.
Well, they are the final picks and bans. What do we make of these two team setups? I mean, we're seeing standard top lane almost, Mundo versus Renekton. It's something we've seen a lot of. Bottom lane, you talked about how there's not a lot of mobility on Jinx. However, we've already heard from Reckless saying, well, that's not really a matter because in terms of strength, she is far superior to anyone else.
That's the thing, and right now, who will dive on her? Evelyn will try and come in from the side, land the ultimate on her, and then Renekton will follow up together with Riven. If this fails for Rocket, they don't have anything to take down Jinx. At the same time, Millennium scales really well into the late game. Mundo and Shyvana becomes these huge tanky monsters that you can't really deal with. Jinx does so much damage late game, and Ziggs as well. We just saw him last game as well. He scales so well into late game. Generally, I think Millennium, if we manage to get to the late game, has the advantage.
Well, that's what Deficio thinks. What do you guys at home think? Because we want to see who you guys at home think will win this matchup. Right now, it is split down the middle. 50-50 you guys have voted ROC and Millennium. So everybody's sitting on the fence back home. But currently, Deficio thinks Millennium are going to take it.
I didn't say they're going to take it. I said if they go to the late game, I feel like they have the advantage.
That's some serious backpedaling there, right there.
All right, fair enough. I'll stick to my word. I'll say I think Millennium will take this game, but I'm really looking forward to see how Rocket will play this. They don't really have any Wombo combo they can do this time, but I love the teamwork and I want to see them use it now.
Well, we'll see if it works out well for them because starting out as the blue team, it is going to be Rocket, and of course the red team will be Millennium as we join the Rift. Right now we're going to see whether or not any of these teams set up for the level 1 because as it stands, we've not seen any level 1 engagements.
We haven't had much. I think the only level 1 engage we had was Yellow start trying a hook on Enrated in the Fnatic SK game, but that doesn't really count. Right now, though, in the way the current system works, nobody really dares to go in for the early invades. And at the same time, once you hit the 130 mark, you just put down the wards and you kind of stop the whole late invades.
Well, Jankos, of course, can stealth his way in there, but RNA are immediately getting towards that death bush and stealing a position, which means, will we see RNA going to try and get that ward down? If he does, he's going to walk face first into Jankos. I don't think he's going to go for it. Those choppers, of course, from Kevin. We did see them pausing previously because he couldn't throw that cleaver out. Instead, he may well face check in towards Zazas, but instead, no. Zazas already steps away, shows himself, so everybody doing a little bit of a merry dance at the start.
I feel like we've seen this little one before. Oh, who guys coming out in there?
Oh, Death Sentence lands on towards RNA. Has to pop that burnout. Jankos just continues to follow through. See the Ziggs bombs coming through, but he takes him RNA very low. Is it going to be enough? Yes, he should be able to back away and get back before the minions spawn.
Now, Rocket could actually go in and try and get a few wards while Alnir is in base, but they decide not to. Safe start once again.
Yeah, Jankos backed as well, so he's gone back to base. It looks like it's going to be a red buff start for Jankos on Evelynn. It means it will be a blue buff start potentially for RNA. He's actually heading towards, and there is lane switches.
Millennium wants to late invade on this blue, because there's a TP on Kevin, so you can always TP down to the bot lane. And it's only Celavar and Vander actually at the blue right now. They can pick it up.
See whether they go for it. I think they were expecting this. Yeah, you can see immediately, but it's going to be 3 members of Millennium coming in. They put the ward down. They don't take out the ward of Roccat, and Roccat immediately force them away just with that presence alone. It is going to be the blue buff start for RNA. He's already picked that one up, and it's going to be a red buff start for Jankos. Let's see how the race commences.
Yeah, Millennium was hoping that Evelynn was starting blue for Roccat. Sadly, she wasn't, so they just decided to back out and use the TP down bot lane, and nothing really happened from it. Smart start though by Millennium, and they used the TP already from level 1.
Oh, Kerp getting in the Overpower's face already on there. And of course, he's going to have a big range differential over him, but if he gets caught out, if he gets a little too close to Overpower, he could be in serious danger.
Definitely. The mid lane though is going to be very interesting for me to see. I want to see if Overpower is, as you just touched on yourself actually, wants to go for early kills, or if Evelynn is going to come in there and try for an early gank.
That's a scary thing for any mid laner, any laner honestly, to think of when there's a roaming Evelynn, especially with the way the game's developed, with those pink wards now being visible. Everybody's a little bit more worried about any stealth minions.
Now, Millennium has vision, or had vision on Evelynn just before. They knew she just did her big rave, and from here on though, they don't actually know where she went. This is the thing about Evelynn. There's constant pressure on the lanes now. You never know where she is.
Well, Mundo Denler's bottom lane is going to be up against Renekton. Zazas versus Kevin. Kevin played a Mundo in the previous game up against Gambit. He had a horror show there because he was up against, well, the scary wolf of Warwick.
Scary wolf of Warwick. Fine, I'll give you it. I start liking the Warwick pick. But this game right now, though, bot lane or top lane 2v2 going fairly even so far. It's going to be fairly even pretty much the entire game.
We'll see how it develops. At the moment it is 20-18 CS. Of course the support's not picking anything up. It's Jankos we want to keep our eye on though, because he's already coming down. Double buffed up here, making a look towards Kevin. Kevin has got flash available, but that is it.
If he can manage to land the stun and Evelynn goes, he has to go in right now.
Zazas goes in, gets the stun down. They didn't actually follow it through. So Jankos is going to sneak his way and stealth in towards the bush.
Yeah, Jankos didn't actually show himself yet. Minions do not spot Evelynn, so right now Kevin has no idea Jankos is in the bush.
Well, Kevin continuing to throw out those cleavers, chugging down a potion. Now we're going to see the flash, the stun. Is it enough? Jankos goes deep. He gets him on the tower. He's going to take another tower hit in the back, but he will be safe. And that's first blood for Roccat.
This is the synergy I was talking about. Instantly as Saxus flashes in, Evelynn is there. He goes in instantly on the call. It is so well played by Roccat, and they pick up the first blood.
Very decisive play from many members of the team, and you know, of course, Jankos and Zazas have been playing together for a while, but not as long as the likes of Overpower and Celavar. They've been there for a very long time. RNA, they know in the position of Jankos, immediately counters, goes for the Wolves.
Gets the wolves right now. He needs to get out though. If he starts doing the big rave, Jankos will find him. He doesn't have a red buff though, so there's not really any kill potential. Oh, we actually see a fight.
Yeah, he sticks around, goes for the big wraith, and will back away from it. He didn't get the big wolf either, so only got the 2 little ones. So RNA not really that successful on his invade. Jankos comes back in there, fancying back and pace further. Kerb's going to get engaged upon, throws the mines down straight away, and that's going to be a danger for Overpower.
Kerb actually wins this engage. He still have health potion left as well, so for him, this was a good trade. The Overpower will need to think an extra time next time he jumps, because the minefield is there.
Both these AD carriers still equal. Getting to see Creaton getting hooked in there. He'd already thrown the chompers down when he knew there's not going to really be too much follow-on, but that was a great engage. Creaton taking low.
Yeah, so smart play by Vander right here. He puts down the Lantern, making Millennium think that the jungler is there. But so they start backing up. He lands the hook and they get some good trade, took good damage in onto the bot lane of Millennium.
So let's slow things down and see how it's going to develop now that Kevin's already lost one fight. You can see the glitter lances being thrown out from Jerry. He's going to try and force on towards Vander, just slows him down. Salavar getting poked out, but the shield from Vander quickly thrown out with that Lantern. And they trade back and forth once again. 46 to 40 CS. It is so far Salavar just edging it slightly.
Edging is slightly right now, but look at the bot lane. Renekton getting quite the lead. He had the first ball also, or he only got the assist, but he's having full pressure in the lane right now, and Evelyn can actually come down for another game because Kevin has no flash.
RNA coming around towards the middle lane. Overpower is going to go stepping straight in towards the bush, and he's going to face check straight in towards the burnout. It's not going to be landing the Ziggs bomb. Instead, Overpower will just stun up RNA and walk away from this one. Still confident in his levels.
Very even though across the whole game right now. Small advantage to Rocket. They did pick up the first spot and they are slightly winning in farm in the lanes except for the mid lane right now. But that was also expected.
Well, Ziggs has now got his ulti, so we'll see whether he starts using it. He's already heading down south. Blue buff's not available, so it's only one thing he's got in mind, surely. It's ward in the bush.
Ward in the bush. This pink ward actually in the small river bush is very clever because people generally do not run through the bush when they walk past right there. We can actually expect maybe to see this ward being there for a long time.
We'll see. We'll count the timers. It's the 7-minute mark. We'll see how long it lasts because I know you guys don't love those wards. Meanwhile, Creaton, he's clearing out that top wave. It is going to be the blue buff being picked up this time for Kerp. We'll see whether actually... I expect Jankos will probably keep the blue buffs for Rocket.
Yeah, Jankos will most likely keep the blue buff unless they feel that Overpower needs it to farm, because right now a blue buff 6 is having so much damage and so much pushing potential that Overpower might not be able to hold the lane without the blue buff.
Look at these two AD carries. Confident stuff from both of them, going straight for the BF swords. Both of them backing off there, so no advantage gained from either so far.
Both of them had farmed up 1,500 or 1,550 gold, so they instantly buy the BF sword. It is the preferred route for most AD carries, and right now, Sick Bomb coming in. Once again, clearing waves, stopping the push.
Stopping the push. It's actually a rotation coming as well. Kevin goes in towards that top. Didn't last too long there, just around about a minute. Jankos finds it, and it is going to be Jerry and Creaton now down the bottom up against Zazas.
Jankos did his homework. You've seen how many other people actually failed on spotting that ward, and he walks straight in there and clears it. Good job by him, actually.
Maybe I should be a pro player because I always walk through that bush.
Do you actually clear the ward when you walk through?
There's never wards there at my level, trust me. Nevertheless, it is Creaton and Jerry up against Zazas in this bottom lane, but it is going to be Jankos coming around the side. The stun they want to get is going to be on Creaton. They will get it. Creaton taking so low. Barrier's not going to be enough. It's another pickup in the bot lane, this time for Zazas.
Saxus and Jankos are doing work. Amazing once again. He goes in, he lands the stun, and then everything comes in.
Kerb gets engaged upon by Overpower, jumps in, gets the stun, the knock up, the ignite. Is it going to be enough? That's going to be broken wings. Tower hit's not going to be enough. The ignite will not be enough. Overpower gets the kill.
And we talked about the fact that Overpower could actually go for the kill after level 6. Riven has so much damage straight up. And there was no ultimate on Kerb because he used it to clear the wave top.
Absolutely. He completely timed that one out. That would have been simple communication. Salavar said, it is not available. No Mega Inferno bomb. Just used it on me. Let's get in there. There we go.
Well,
RNA got in there.
Yeah. RNA decided.
We'll see that in a moment, I feel, at the moment. We'll see how that works out for them. Jankos is going to come back in there and clear the wave. Meanwhile, the top lane. Let's talk about the fact that they are in these 2v1s. So obviously, we just saw Creaton going down the bottom, but look at this top. It is all about Rockat's pressure.
Saxus right now is so strong that he can actually keep the turret alive 1v2, meaning that Rocket can now recall and go bot with their bot lane and then keep defending the turret, and they're just taking the turret for free.
Well, Brutalizer picked up for Overpower as he goes back along with that Vampiric Scepter. Here is that fight in the mid. It's going to be pretty shortly done.
There's not much to say. Aranir comes in, Overpower stays even though he's low. Good engage from Aranir here and actually just picking up a fairly simple kill.
Yeah, straightforward. Ulti and Ignite being used on towards him, so no problem there. No Ignite rather, so it's just the burnout of the red buff.
Notice how scared Millennium's bot lane is to actually hit the tower. They haven't seen Evelyn in a long time. They don't have any ping ward. If they moved close to the turret and she was there, Renekton could engage on them again and pick up another kill.
Well, RNA is doing what Shyvanas tend to do, which is just keep that farm going. They're such fast farmers, but you got to think, compared to Jankos, Jankos has been looking for those kills. He's come down and helped out Zazas. And as you mentioned, Zazas is that strong now that he doesn't really worry about that 2v1.
No, and Rocket is playing this early game absolutely beautiful. They know that Millennium has a great late game setup, so they just put pressure and they want to make kills, and now they want to force maybe a dragon.
4 members of Rocket coming in there, ace in the hole, used to force our RNA away. That's going to be the jungler taken to half health. I don't think he's going to even think about getting in here and getting the smite. Rocket should take this dragon.
Kevin has TP though. We'll be interested to see if he actually goes for it or if they just give the dragon for free to Rocket.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go for it. They're going to back away. Mega Inferno Bomb, not going to use that either. Rocket take dragon 1.
Millennium realizes how strong Rocket are at this point. Riven is very strong right now. Evelyn is very strong right now. And also Renekton is very strong right now. So they simply say, fair enough, we'll give you this, and we're just going to farm up, and we're going to try to get to the late game.
Bloodthirster almost completed by Salavar, and he's just going to continue farming out this bottom wave. 97 to 84 minions now as they go up against each other, these duo lanes. So finally, of course, Tower going down by Rocket in that top lane has caused this rotation. The hook on towards J-Ree. Piltover Peacemaker follows it up, and a big burst of damage on J-Ree. RNA is lingering on the side, but he can't really do a great deal about this one. Rocket not going to follow through. They're just simply poking.
And they had a ward up there. They spotted RNA because he slightly stepped out of the bush, and he just wisely backed off. Good hook coming in, though, and very nice damage they actually put on to J-Ree at this point.
Jankos coming up to the top once again, and Kevin just being focused down. Zazas is in there, flashes away, pops that ulti. Is it going to be enough? Tries to teleport away. They have got the stun available. No! They don't get him, and he gets off towards that tower.
Great play by Kevin. He actually realizes there's no way to go for him. Had he kept running, Riven would have come up and finished him. Nice TP. But nonetheless, it's a TP down, and Rocket has the timer on it.
Well, potentially showing a lack of crowd control that they have in the Rocket team. We'll see how that creates any situations. There's 3 members of Millennium stacked down the bottom. They know that Jankos was in that top, so they can keep this pressure on the bottom lane for now.
Notice how the whole thing in mid lane has changed. Kerb had the advantage early game. Now though, Overpower keeps shoving him up to his turret, and Kerb can go anywhere.
Well, Overpower's going to jump back on towards Kerb. Kerb uses that launch mechanism that he can put down of his, I think, is he playing the Aqua? Yes, he is, so it's a rubber ducky.
A rubber ducky. Now, blue buff. Smart move by Rocket here. They want to fight constantly.
The hook on Aranea. Will it be followed through? Yes, it will. Flay goes in. Box gets thrown down, but it is actually Vander in trouble. Dragon's Descent used by Aranea because Overpower comes in. Ace in the hole's going to land. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. Overpower finishes off.
Once again, amazing by Rocket. They want to fight for everything they can get close to, and everyone is there and ready to fight. Overpower making the big plays.
Well, it was Rocket that managed to steal the blue buff as well, so Jankos walked away with that one, and that's going to cause problems for Kerp in this mid lane. Meanwhile, down the bottom, Salavar starting to chew his way through the minions. 115, 116, 117, counting upwards, just against 100 of Creaton, starting to build advantages all across the map.
Millennium has to do something about this bot lane, or the tower will fall in. Maybe not this wave, but next one again. Though, good thing for Millennium right now. Even though they should fall behind, they have great wave clear with the 6. Even the Shyvana can help, and Lulu actually works really well as well. So they can keep extending the game, keep farming, and maybe get to the late game.
And now we're hitting, what, level 9? Mundo would ordinarily start to step into it. But how do we see it? Because a 1-0-1 Renekton with Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage on the way, up against a Mundo that doesn't even have the Sunfire Cape completed yet. It's surely a big advantage for Zazas.
It is an advantage for Saxos, but he won't be able to kill Dr. Mundo. This is basically just going to be farm versus farm. One is going to push the lane in, the other one is going to go up and grab the farm, and then they're going to switch around. There will be no kills in the top lane right now.
Well, bottom turret goes down. Middle turret will be next. It is a 4,000 gold lead already, just 14 minutes into this game. Rocket really have turned up to the LCS in the spring split to play and to pick up victories. But Millennium, can they counter it? We see Kevin still taking low. He's got to be careful here. Has to pop that ultimate, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Zaz is in there. Jankos is running for his life. He's going to join the party. Millennium's going to be in trouble now. Kevin's going to be the focus. Zig's bomb's coming in. It's not going to... Yes, he does land on Zazas. Zazas flashes away, though, and survives.
Jankos is playing amazing this game. He's everywhere on the map. Everywhere he needs to be. He's going on Kurt.
Jankos goes on Kurt. Overpower's coming in. He's going to come around. Flashes on towards him. Gets the stun down. And Kurt just bounces away. Broken Wing's not quite catching.
Almost picking up a kill of Overpower. Rocket is rotating on him. Oh, the Rocket almost killed Jankos.
Well, Jankos surviving. Just getting the lifesteal from the minions. So that Mega Inferno Bomb. Sorry, the Super Mega Death Rocket. They've got the full combo. I'll tell you, it's going to catch me on my guard.
So far, Every time something happens on the map, Jankos is there. He's part of pretty much everything except for the one kill Overpower took alone in the mid lane. 2-0-2 for Jankos right now. He's playing amazing.
He's playing like Wonder Woman, I think it is, on Evelyn. Right now, bottom lane, Creaton, that's where we just saw the shots fired from. He's still down there, but it's the mid lane. The problem is, Overpower going a little too aggressive. Wasn't expecting Kevin there, and I don't think they're going to be able to do a great deal about this one. This will be Millennium picking up a kill. He's going to try and turn it back around on Kerb. Nope, not going to happen. Kevin gets the kill, but mid lane turret's taking a lot of pressure from Roccat.
Took a lot of, not too much damage in the mid lane, but smart bait by Kirby actually. Overpower spots him going into the bush, and then Kevin is waiting in there. A bit too greedy from Overpower though, but not mattering too much at this point.
Maybe biting off more than they can chew. They've got to be careful of that when they come up against maybe the likes of Fnatic and Gambit. They could turn that back around on them. As it stands though, they are one game up, and that was previously against the Super Hot crew, up against Millennium, 5-2 up, 5,000 gold lead 16 minutes into this game. That's a big advantage.
That is a huge advantage, and Jankos, he doesn't want to go under pressure right now. He just bought a blue pot. He wants to fight. Next Dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. I think it's going to be very risky for Millennium to actually go for the fight, but no, they can't really just let Rocket take everything.
Well, the bottom lane is once again the duo battle between Creaton and Salavar, with Vander and Jerry trying to create those situations as the supports. Ward's being placed down there. Blue Buff will be up shortly, as well as that Dragon. Next focus target, and it's Roccat getting the early vision.
Rocket is already setting up for the blue buff right now, getting the traps down in the entrance to the blue buff from Caitlyn, making it very hard for Millennium to actually go in for the fight.
Well, it's 3 members of Roccat split off here. They do have the rest of the team joining them, so now it's 5 members of Roccat in the river area and starting to leash out that Dragon.
Interesting enough there, Millennium actually seems to they want to fight. Kevin hasn't TP'd yet though. He TP's now.
Mega Inferno bomb comes too late. Jankos has already picked it up with the smite. Teleport comes in from Kevin, like you say, splitting off a little too late. It's actually separated the AD carry. Jerry gets hooked in, not really the one they wanted, and it's actually Roccat trying to disengage. You can see the box being thrown down by Vander. Is it going to be enough to pop him away? A wild growth used on Air, quickly trying to get on towards it. Jankos comes around the side. The damage suddenly coming through. Roccat turning back around. You cannot mess with Overpower when he's in such close proximity, and you can see Jankos wanting to get kill after kill, runs on through, gets himself a double kill.
The burst damage from Jankos and Overpower coming in right there, going huge in this fight, taking down Creaton and Jerry. The TP came in from Kevin way too late. The Dragon was already dead, and Kevin had TP all along. Not sure why he delayed it.
Well, very late plays, teleport, like you say, coming in too late. It's actually cost them 2 kills, 2 deaths, sorry, a Dragon and middle turret. That's a big cost in terms of money. And you can see it's now a 7,000 gold differential to make that an 8,000 gold differential.
Rocket is just playing absolutely fantastic. They are controlling the map, and they pick the right fights and they win them. It is amazing to watch, and the coordination we talked about before is showing once again.
So Creaton, can he try and create any situation? He's kind of been the man that's really been putting Millennium on his back. The AD carriers tend to do that. But honestly, he's kind of met his match in the terms of Salavar and Vander. They've been doing a fantastic job down that bottom. Already 2 deaths to his name. But let's check out that fight. This is all about the teleport coming too late.
If you see the TP coming in too late, they still decide to go for the fight, even though Millennium is behind in gold and they don't have to fight. They can back out right now up through the blue buff. But Aeroneer goes in for the engage, and here's where it goes wrong. Notice Jankins coming up from the top, hits the ultimate on 5 people, and then Overpower goes in and goes big.
Ace in the hole comes through, lands on Creaton, and look at this. They're just all great. This is perfect. This is what you want as a melee champion. It's like, oh, they're going to line up for me. This is great.
This is so perfect. Jankos, I imagine him just calling, go, I'm hitting like 5 people. Obviously in Polish, but still, he lands it, and then Overpower goes in instantly and picks up kills.
Overpower clearing out that ward, pink ward down the bottom, farm-wise in between them. He's doing a very good job at keeping up as well. So, mid-turret, look at that. It's just a breath of fresh air. We'll take that down. Jankos is going to come around. Vander's actually going to be maybe the one to hit it. No?
I think the turret is actually already dead.
It's gone. Ah, it went when we were in the replay. That's why. So we don't actually see it. It's gone. It's a ghost.
Ghost turret here. Doesn't really do too much. I was also wondering why Jankos was just walking by it without getting hit.
Gunshot. This is a miracle. They found a way around it. Nevertheless, down the bottom lane, Overpower's got that big wave coming in there, and look at that. Kraton's like, I'm not getting close to that crazy mid lane Polish man. He's at 3 kills, 2 deaths already, and he could absolutely rip Kraton apart. Oh, Chomper's nearly caught onto him. Kevin does manage to get some damage down on towards him. Pops that ultimate, but look at Jankos. He's just waiting up the side. Wants to come in for this one. He wanted Kraton to come around the side, but it's not going to happen. ROC in full control right now.
Overpower really wants to make plays. He's going a bit too aggressive a few times, but he's definitely keeping the pressure up, and Millennium feels it. Kraton has to be very scared. If he gets caught by Overpower, he will die.
Well, Vander swinging up the hook, doesn't quite throw out that death sentence. Kurt was potentially the target, and ROC really looking to try and create a play. Millennium having to play full-on defensive duty. That top lane wave maybe feeling juicy. I think Yazazas may well head off there. At the moment, though, ROC very disciplined performance, despite the fact they have a big advantage. They're pulling together.
But this is a very good setup by Millennium. They keep 2 people bot to stop Overpower. Oh, might not actually go in. Nothing really happens here. Everyone doesn't have any hard CC to put on here. But smart move by Millennium. Oh, hook coming in.
J-Ree gets hooked in there, and they follow it straight through, throw the box. Curb's the one they want, and maybe Curb's the one they're going to get, because Millennium drop like flies, and there Jankos comes through, running through, and well, Overpower completely separating the rest of the team. That's 5 members of ROC taking down an inner turret. They're going to take the inhibitor turret without any issue.
Just when I said it was smart by Millennium, they divided up so guys trying to defend, then the hook lands and they're going for the dive.
Mega Inferno bomb only gets blocked out by Vander. It was Salavar the target they wanted. They couldn't quite get it though. Inhibitor should go down. ROC in full control. 22 minutes coming into this game. They've already taken an inhib.
While this was amazing dive by Rocket, there wasn't actually anything Millennium could have done except for not being hooked. They were standing in the right positions, they could clear and they could keep Overpower in bay, 2v1 down the bot lane. It was though just a matter of time before Rocket would hit a hook and go in for the dive.
So, let's slow it down and look across the builds, because we're seeing actually Salavar, he's gone for the Static Shiv instead of the Last Whisper straight away. Last Whisper is coming out now, it seems, so jumping on for that one. You can see they're actually starting to create big advantages because, well, they are 11,000 gold ahead. Overpower potentially going to go for Kraton here.
He might try and go. J-Ree actually moved away. No, he backs off. Smart play by Kraton. He's an experienced player. He knows there's a chance Overpower is there. But the Static Shift, right now, Salavar is the pushing potential for them, and he's also the wave clear for them. So the Static Shift is going to help him instant clear the wave every time.
Well, they are going to find themselves a little bit of time. Dragon, of course, up in 30 seconds. This time around, I'm pretty sure Millennium are not even going to compete for it.
If Millennium decides to actually fight for this, I feel that it might be the end of the game. Millennium just has to let it go, keep trying to farm up as much as possible. But there's a long way to go. When even your Shyvana jungle is so far behind compared to the Evelynn, who's been so active on the map, you know things are looking very bad for you.
This is potentially proving why the likes of Evelynn have been banned out for a large portion of this. It's generally Diamond that actually this is taken away from, but Jankos has proven at 4-0-5 he is not to be trifled with, and with that Rabadon's death cap almost completed along with the Deathfire Grasp. That's pretty scary for a jungler.
Jankos right now is able to pretty much one-shot Kraton if he catches him from the side. We saw the same with the Elise pick yesterday. He went full AP on it and just dominated the game. I think it was 7-0 at some point in the game. He's playing so offensive and he believes in himself so much, and I really love the way he builds it.
I'd be interested to check that stat, whether actually Jankos has died as a jungler right now, because it certainly hasn't in this game, and looking like it may well not be possible, because once that shield's going to get huge now with that amount of ability power on them. This bottom turret looks like it's going to be not long in this game. That will be the 6th turret of the game without reply by ROC at 6-0. When you're not getting any outer turrets in the lane phase, generally it's not looking good.
It is definitely not right now. Kevin can hold Overpower top, but he won't really be able to kill him, which means he can keep pushing down the lane, get a few hits on the tower, dash out. At the same time, the 4 other members of Rocket can just push up another lane, and if they should break out a fight, they, right now, should be able to win it.
You know, for me, so far, after talking to teams, Rocket, you know, not only obviously impressing here, but the fact that a lot of teams rated Millennium very highly coming into this. They were saying these are one of the teams to watch. These could potentially challenge for one of the top spots. And right now, Rocket are making them look amateur.
They definitely are, but I still think Millennium is a great team, but I just think that Rocket brings something new. This is like seeing actually Millennium in the last bit of the start when they came in, they were so aggressive, they kept making plays early game and just dominated everyone. Now, Rocket is doing the same to them. And if they can keep this going, how long will it take Rocket?
And you know, I think back to the World Championships and see the aggression the teams brought, and that worked wonders for them. That's the aggressive teams were the ones that were there and around the final time. And of course, you think back to the days when Moscow 5 broke onto the scene. Their aggression that they showed also won them many trophies and tournaments. And Rocket may well have found the recipe, and this could turn, you know, force a lot of other teams to have to go back to the aggressive stance.
Definitely, and this is actually what I hope happens. We want to see people fighting Rocket with their style. Right now, they can pick up a free Baron. Millennium has no way to contest it, and they don't even mind them picking up this Baron, because this is how it is. They just need to keep defending.
I mean, they mind.
Yeah, okay,
There's
they
not a lot they
mind.
can do about it.
But I think they all agreed pretty fast to not try and fight for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a great deal they're going to do about that one. So, wave clear coming through. The inhibitor, I believe, in the middle has respawned, or is about to. So we'll see what they do with this Baron. Everybody's gone back to buy. We're seeing some interesting builds.
Yeah, but I'm a bit surprised, first of all, we actually have pause coming in. But talking about this, I'm a bit surprised about the trinkets from Rocket at this point. They could have went with some sweeping lenses and put more focus on denying vision from a Millennium. But right now they feel they have enough control of the map.
Well, it is Kevin, once again, that seems to have an issue. It's not just Alliance that have the pauses, it is also just Millennium. So it's just those two teams. Kevin obviously seems to have an issue. We'll find out what that is. I'm guessing it may well be keyboard related. It was previously, his Q wasn't working, I believe, last game.
Maybe it stopped working again, I don't know.
Well, the bottle of water is helping. He's going to rejoin the game, and I feel we'll be getting things underway. But as it stands, 10 kills to 2. It is a 15,000 gold differential 26 minutes into this game. It's looking pretty grim for those guys. And remember, they can't talk during this break. What goes through your mind when there's a pause like this, you're this far behind? I mean, you've just got to sit in silence, and obviously there are some pretty glum faces right there.
I mean, for Rocket, it's all about just keeping the focus, keeping the momentum going. So as soon as the game starts again, you just keep rolling and rolling. Yep. For Millennium right now, I think everyone is thinking the same. We just have to try and turtle this out. We have 6 to wave clear. We have Shyvana to help a little bit, but as long as we can just delay this game by maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, they are right now in the position SK Gaming were against them yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you think about it. They got the Jinx, the Ziggs, like you say. This is quick wave clear. They got the Mundo even as well as he starts getting into this phase. He's already got the Spirit Visage, Sunfire Cape, so he's going to have a lot of wave clear. So, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the screen as we wait for Kevin to reconnect. I believe we just heard him reconnecting, so hopefully the pause will be back underway. I can already see the countdown, so let's get back into that game without further ado, because we hear the rubber ducky bouncing off there. That means Kerp is going. Don't worry, guys, the game will be back on a moment. And at the moment, it's really a very one-sided game. Rocket in full control from the lane phase, and it's a very impressive lane phase that they have.
It's an amazing lane phase.
Nope. Pause again?
Well, not much to say, but the laning phase from Rocket is strong, but the jungling from Jankos is really what puts all the lanes ahead. He's doing absolutely fantastic.
This time around it's Creaton, so he's now disconnected. So it's Millennium that are having these issues. We're just waiting for them to sort themselves out. So now it's, you can see the Borson stood behind them, the admin for Riot Games, making sure that Creaton just has to relog his client. That's all we're waiting for.
Yeah, it doesn't look too serious. Yeah, he's actually going to reconnect now, so we should be going very soon.
Yeah, so not too long to wait. We're going to get the face of Creaton and the manly stance of Scott stood behind him, making sure she just edges off the screen. Just thinking, stop talking about me. I'm going to edge away there. So what do you do in this situation? Obviously, they're going to turtle. Baron's just been picked up. This is a deadly situation. Millennium are looking at a 0-2 for today. That's not a good start.
It's not a good start, but right now, Millennium has to hope that Rocket will make a big mistake, maybe try like an over-aggressive dive.
Which they've been doing.
They have been doing. Overpower's been very aggressive. If they can catch him out, kill him, and maybe try and turn it into something, that's the way back for them. They need to try and get some towers first, though. They have 0 so far.
Well, it is all Rocket up the mid lane. We have one member of just overpowered down the bottom. He's going to shove that wave in. Of course, that inhibitor is just respawned, so which means Rocket obviously going to go for that one first. If they can get close enough, and I'm not too sure Millennium can stop this out. And this is the thing, like you're talking about the wave clear that you have with Creaton, with Kerr, but when there's already an inhibitor turret down, it's very hard to defend. Boom, pause. Beautiful. Now, this time it is... I'm going to be looking. Can't see who it is. It's Kevin again.
Right, this is going pretty good.
This is going beautifully.
This is another way of delaying the
This
game.
is a test
Yes.
that Riot have put for you.
Yes.
Just for you. And every of the viewers, you guys at home are important, but we feel we're going to put you under the situation right now. So, fill for us.
One thing I will talk about.
Okay.
One thing.
Just one.
Jankos completed his dev cap. And I think actually right now,
Holy moly.
he has more AP than 6 on the other team.
That's a problem.
That's definitely a problem.
That's definitely a problem because he's got the Elder's Spectral Wraith.
He has the Spectral Wave, he has the DFG, so the damage he can put out instantly is insane. And right now, if they go for a straight 5v5, I don't see any way Millennium can win it. If they do manage to, as we just talked about before, catch out someone and then maybe turn it into a 4v5 fight, they might be able to win it, but they're going to need to win a lot of them to actually get back in the game.
And talking about the aggression of ROC, I want to talk about the third item picked up by Renekton as well. It's a Black Cleaver.
It's Black Cleaver. I mean, this shows the way they play. Once they get a lead, they just build offensive items and they just try to snowball it harder and harder. It reminds me again a little bit about an old Gambit. Or M5, actually.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it reminds me of, the full-on aggression of the old Moscow 5. And maybe Gambit are going to be sat at home, sat back in their hotel, but they've gone back to the hotel by now and watching these games and seeing, potentially who they're going to be up against. Because don't forget, many weeks down the line, it's only a 12-week season. They have to face these teams 4 times. So everybody is going to be scrutinizing exactly what these teams do in the early games. And when a team like ROC bursts onto the scene and destroys Super Hot Crew and potentially Millennium in the way they have, this is one of the teams that everybody focuses on.
Oh yeah, you have to focus on this. This is also the big question for Rocket right now. Because again, we saw Alternate in the last split, started out really well. Nobody knew how to play against them. But people figured it out, and all of a sudden Alternate started losing some games. Now, Rocket looks very dominant, but we have to see if they can adjust once people start figuring out their tactics and start making tactics versus them. So actually it's going to be very interesting to see how much they actually have and how big the champion pools are. Right now, they're playing absolutely perfect though, and they all play different champions.
And of course, while we're waiting and delaying here for Kevin to get himself back in the game, don't forget there's also games coming up after this. Cloud9 Europe, who we're hearing absolutely incredible things about, and all the teams are talking about them as well. This young squad coming through are up against, I will tell you who it is any moment now, up against heavy bot lane.
From what I can understand, the Trundle pick Source used yesterday was actually something they had played against Cloud9 in scrims, and then he picked it up. He saw how strong it was, and he picked it up. I'm very excited to see Cloud9 in the Coke League. I think, or trying to qualify for the Coke League, because I think they will be a very strong team.
Yeah, the Coke Challenger Series, of course, will be brought to you by Freakin' Kobe as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that one, because there's 2 more games to go. It is going to be Team for Nothing up against Tick, Trick, and I can't remember the final name of it. It's Huey, Dewey, and Louie in German. I can't remember the exact name of it, but that's what it stands for.
Wasn't it Duck?
Duck. So, yeah, Duck. That would make sense with Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
No, I have no idea who that is. I have absolutely no idea.
Absolutely no idea. Do they not do that in Danish? Maybe they do. I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
No, okay. So let's talk about the game. Well, let's talk about, in fact, the last 11 games. Well, we'll talk about this game because it seems that Pause has come back out once again. Overpower is chomping down that bottom lane, and Creaton is trying to do what he can to stop it, but it is all about Rocket breaking down this front door.
Now, Rocket is not even moving Overpower in to try and take the inhib. They keep him in the side lane to try and push the tower. They're confident they can take this inhib alone.
Well, they are confident, and why not? Because look at the damage they've already got. It's actually Zazas that's just sticking around there. They try and turn him into a wee little cupcake, but it's not going to work. And now Overpower comes in to try to put a bit more damage on towards his bottom inhibitor turret. Super minions will be coming down the bottom lane, but I feel Rocket have taken a lot of damage. They may want to step away from this. They didn't take the inhibitor turret, actually. Zazas didn't get the final hit.
They want to go in and get the last hit on this inhib, but they're actually getting quite low. Millennium might want to fight here.
Now they take it down, though. Death Sentence gets thrown out, doesn't find its home. Jankos comes around, joins them in there, and of course Overpower's been churning down this bottom wave. Kerp comes in, throws out those mines. That's going to clear the wave quickly.
I don't feel like Millennium is going to have a better time than right now to fight. Once Activity engage.
Oh, that's going to be a flash hook. Not going to land on towards from Vander, but you can see already that inhibitor turret is taken low. Vander's the one taking all the hits, and he doesn't get taken down, which is a worry for the rest of Millennium, because if they can't drop the support in quick style, What else can they do?
Millennium has no damage right now on Rocket. Rocket can pick up this tower, maybe on the next wave. C-Sax is going again.
They're going to take the turret down. It's going to be Zazas tanking it out. That is one more inhibitor going to be focused on. Vander is going to get dropped low. Aranea thought about going for it. They're just jumping back and forth from that fountain. Kraton needs the mana. And Rocket, well, they're working down that final inhib.
Millennium has to buy some home guard boots and just try and keep defending now. There's nothing else they can do. Every time they drop low, they can go back and heal with home guard and try to rejoin the fight. That's the way they can possibly win it. Hook coming in.
Hook on Kevin. Will they follow through? You're damn right they will. They're going to jump straight through into it. Meanwhile, Overpower jumps on towards Kraton. That AD carry is not going to last long. Broken Wings just obliterating them with Jankos coming in. This is going to be Rocket closing out the game. The Nexus turrets won't last too long, and Rocket have looked tremendous against Millennium. Game 1 and 2. Oh, the hook once again. Dragon Descent used from Millennium, trying to jump away from this one. Rocket will close the game out. They will take their second victory in the Spring Split LCS.
Following Jankos in this game has been absolutely amazing. He was also there when Overpower took down Kraton in the end, so they could finish the game. Rocket is looking fantastic, and they are so strong in the early game.
I feel those pauses maybe created an anticlimactic situation, but well, nevertheless, it was a fantastic victory for Rocket, and really very well deserved, because they dominated that game. Let's just take a quick look at what happened in that end there, because the last final stats of the game, what, 12-2 in kills, 20,000 gold lead built up over 29 minutes. That's incredible stats for a team that's just qualified.
Rocket did everything right this game. Everything. From the minute the game started, they had a plan, and they executed it perfectly. I am really, really impressed by this team, and I'm happy they're doing so well.
And you know, we mention it as a team that's qualified 3-0 over Ninjas in Pajamas. Cloud9 was the last team we saw do that. They came through, won the summer split of the North American League. Lemon Dogs, they came through and did that. They came through and topped the league, I think it's safe to say, because they didn't win in the promotion, but they won the overall league of the summer split. Are we seeing repeat of history here? Rocket starting off incredibly strong, or will we see them follow the likes of Meet Your Maker, starting off incredibly strong and fading away?
We're only in week 1, so we have to be a little bit careful about what we say, but the way they're playing right now is so impressive to me, and it reminds me so much of the Korean teams with the coordination,
yes,
with the picks they have, and just the overall mechanics and game and plays they actually make. So for me, the big question is going to be, what will they do when people start figuring out their picks and figuring out the way they play early game and try to build up a counter strategy? If they can find an answer for that, then they can definitely go far. I'm not going to say all the way, but they can definitely go towards the top.
Well, I mean, taking down Millennium's a good step. Let's see how they do against the big boys. What is it else you see in there? What are teams going to be looking at? You know, as yourself, step yourself back as a manager or a coach, whatever you'd like to be, maybe the statisticians. Put yourself in Monte Cristo's boots as CLG's man coach right now. What would you look at that team and say, this is what we need to do against these guys?
First of all, you need to make sure that you do not give them an early game jungler. You need to have a game plan at least to shut down an early game jungler. Jankos played Elise yesterday. He played Evelyn today. He has so much early pressure on the map, and he just puts it out in every lane. So in every lane, not Evelyn. So you need to make sure that you can shut down him, possibly by having, let's say, Elise send yourself or an Elise yourself, then to follow him around on the map. You need to see how he jungles, with what paths he takes, and like how does it look when he sets up a gank? How does it look when the lane sets up a gank? At the same time, you need to make sure that Overpower does not get any kills alone in the mid lane. You need to make sure that your mid laner knows exactly how he plays, because he's a very aggressive player. We saw it on the Riven. At level 8, he just went all in for the kill and he picked it up.
And what's impressed me as well about Rocket, particularly, is the fact that they've played 2 very different strategies and made them work.
And they made them work. Again, this just shows the whole champion pool these guys have. They can play the offensive ones. They can also play the defensive ones. And we saw them in relegation, also played a whole new level of champions. We had Vayne, for instance. We also saw the kill. It was banned away this time. So for Overpower, we had Pantheon, Kayle, and in this game, he played Riven. That's a lot of different champions. Okay, Riven and Pantheon kind of reminds of each other. But then again, Riven scales really well into the late game, where Pantheon kind of drops off, and you have to make a lot of plays early game. So I'm very impressed by Overpower, and I'm very impressed by Rocket.
Well, it's a very impressive performance overall. Let's go over to Shox and Quickshot, who are standing by with Zazas, the man that had to one-man it up against Millennium.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, D-Man. Congratulations, Axis. That is 2 wins for 2 in the LCS for Roccat, coming in hot. And in this game specifically, very strong performance. Let's start in the picks and bans. Very clearly from you guys, banning out the Annie and Leona and first picking the Thresh. Does that tell that as a team, you don't really think any other supports can give you any trouble?
Not really. It was more about Jerry. He only plays 3 supports all the time. At least that's what information we got. That was our plan for that team match. Because there are so many good champions right now, there are no OP that you have to ban. So we just wanted to make one player playing on something that he don't want to.
Talk to me a little bit about your picks and bans strategy. How does Roccat actually prepare for a game like this? You just said you wanted to target Jerry this game. Is that because you're not afraid of anybody else? Is it because there's so many champions for somebody to pick? I mean, that was your strategy here, but it's not the same that you apply to every other team, right?
Yeah, of course. We knew that every single player on the Millennium plays so many champions, there's no point banning just one of them. And there's only Jerry who plays 3 champions all the time, so it was that make that bounce.
That's actually very interesting to me, that way of looking at the picks and bans and also the way you guys play and just how incredibly deep the champion pools seem to be. Is that maybe what you think is what's giving you one step ahead of the teams you've played now and maybe you'll even play further in the LCS?
Well, maybe kind of. We play almost everything, especially Overpool. He can play any champion at mid. Maybe we'll see some strange things like Pantheon or others soon. But yeah, I think that every single one of us can play almost anything on his role.
So I've got a question now about some of the rest of the games you play. You're sitting 2-0 at the moment, going to start playing more frequently. Which team are you a little scared to play? Which team are you thinking is going to give us the toughest time? And you're speaking on behalf of Team Roccat now. Think about the whole guys. So who are you nervous to fight?
I think Fnatic is looking strongest right now. And beside that, I don't think so. I think the rest of the teams are on the same level, only Fnatic's above right now.
So you say Fnatic is the only one. Does that mean you see yourself as, for sure, a contender for top 3?
Not yet. It's too early to tell that.
Too early, careful, but still fantastic performance in your first 2 games. Congratulations once again. And now we're going to rejoin D-Man and Officio for a look back at day 2.
Thank you very much, Shox. And well, a conscious decision, I think, from Roccat there to say we're not quite contenders just yet, but there's a good start. So, now that the dust has settled on day 2, here is a look at the current standings. Of course, 3 wins for Fnatic remains in first place. No surprises there. They were European champions through the spring and the summer last year, and they hold that position once again. After the last match, though, Roccat, they have stayed in second place with 2 victories, 2-0. Great start from them. Then in third place, we have Gambit with 2 wins and that 1 loss against Fnatic, the opening game of the season. And the Super Hot Crew, well, they're in 4th place now after a great performance today. Gives them 1 win and 1 loss.
And with the defeat in the last game, Copenhagen Wolves, Millennium and SK Gaming are now tied for 5th place with 1 win and 2 losses for each team. And still looking for their first win, we have Alliance. They find themselves on the last place after 3 straight losses.
Incredible stuff. Wasn't expecting to see Alliance down there. And of course, those standings are sure to change as this Super Week continues on day 3. Coming up tomorrow, it is going to be the Super Hot Crew versus SK Gaming opening out the day. And that's, of course, going to be at 7 p.m. Then it's going to be followed by Millennium up against Fnatic. Ooh, tough one right there, of course. Roccat, they're going to be playing against the Copenhagen Wolves. Can they continue their performance and get themselves a 3rd win? And rounding out the day, of course, Gambit will be up against the Super Hot Crew.
And then we have Alliance versus Roccat, a game I will look forward to.
That's a big game to finish. And, with the pressure on Alliance at 0-3 to come up against Roccat,
that's a huge game.
That's scary.
Indeed.
Scary stuff. And of course, those matches will be beginning on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central European Time. That is 10 a.m. Pacific. And immediately following those games, the European Challenger Series will be continuing. Remember, you can always get all of the latest stats, team info, VODs, and much more over at lolesports.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to send it over to Freak and Kobe, who are standing by to kick off the European Challenger Series with a game I am very excited to see. Cloud9 Europe versus heavy bot lane.